Yo, what's up guys? Cobes here from PFT. This week I'm going to be bringing to you some at-home workouts. Today I'm using the kettlebell. Tomorrow I'll probably play around with the bands. The next day I might use body weight. The important thing to note here is that it doesn't really matter what tools you use. At the end of the day, a movement pattern is a movement pattern. So those patterns are going to remain the same or very similar. The tools that we use can be different, but I'll show you how to structure that throughout this week. So today I'm using a 24 kilo kettlebell. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking, 24 kilos, not heavy enough for squats, etc., etc. Now, here's the thing, we can make things more difficult or harder by, instead of doing bilateral, meaning two legs, we can do unilateral, one leg or one arm at a time. That's going to increase the body's stability needs and also strength requirements. Another way that we can make things a little bit more difficult is by slowing our reps down, focusing on tempo. So instead of just bouncing through the reps, really slow it down. So if I'm doing a split squat, for example, I'm going to do a goblet Bulgarian squat. Now I'm going to focus on 2 to 3 seconds down. I might get a 1 second pause at the bottom where we're using some isometrics to increase time under tension and load in that weakened position or lengthened, weaker position. Then nice and slow back up. So if I'm doing, say, 10 reps, then I'm looking at 4 to 5 seconds per rep. So I'm looking at 40 to 50 seconds time under tension per leg. Trust me, if you're doing this correctly, it's going to be hard. Then another way that we can increase difficulty is by increasing range of movement or changing the joint angles. So if I'm doing push-ups, for example, everyone can do push-ups here quite well, but as soon as I take my hands here, I'm changing my joint angle. If I take my hands here, joint angles change. Hands here. Anytime I change a joint angle, it makes it a little bit more difficult. All right, so today I'm using a kettlebell. I went through a Bulgarian split squat. Then I went into a bent over single arm row. Then I went into some tricep push-ups onto the kettlebell handle. Then my last exercise was some kettlebell lateral flexions. So I'm hitting lower body, upper body pull, upper body push, and core. Today I did 3 sets of 10, nice slow controlled reps, looking at 1 minute rest in between sets. Okay, if you've got more time, you can split this up, you can get more sets out. You can get up to 5 to 10 sets out if you've got the time. For me, I'm focusing on little mini workouts at the moment, so I'm probably only spending about 15-20 minutes a couple times a day structuring my workouts. So this is my strength-based workout. I'm going to do a skill-based workout next, and then I'm going to finish with a conditioning session later on in the day, roughly 10 to 20 minutes per session. Let's have a look. So Bulgarian split squat, goblet position, elbows tight. I want my feet a little bit further than stepping distance. So I can keep my front heel on the floor. From here, chest upright, load through that front leg, nice and slow. 2 to 3 seconds down, 1 to 2 second pause, nice and slow up. Again, weight through the front leg, back leg's there for a little bit of support as needed. If you don't have a kettlebell to do that, you can also just go body weight loaded. Again, increase time under tension, get a pause in that bottom position, nice and slow up. Keep those muscles under tension throughout. You can also go upper body supported. So set up in this position, nice and slow down, knee just above the ground, leg doesn't work, upper body helps as needed. My next exercise was my bent over row. So I'm going arm supported here. I want to load my posterior chain, isometric position, feet hip width, or just outside if you need a little bit more room for the kettlebell. Drive those hips back, loaded, torso parallel to the ground if possible. From here, chest through, think posture. My back doesn't work. My hands are hooks. I'm not gripping really hard, burning my forearms out. I'm thinking about pulling my shoulder blade down and back here. Boom, screwing. So my lats fire. I don't want to shrug up and get my traps firing. I want to work through the middle back. Squeeze everything as hard as I can. I'm pulling my right shoulder blade down towards my left hip and vice versa when I go into my rows on the other side. So that's unilateral. I can also do bilateral. Same position. Now, if I'm doing bilateral, it's going to make it a little bit easier. There's not as much load on the individual arms. So then I'm really going to focus on some isometrics on this one, make it a little bit more difficult. If the weight's too light, you can simply increase time under tension, make that light weight feel heavy. That's what this is what that's going to look like. Squeeze, 1, 2, 3, slow, release. Reset, pull, squeeze, 1, 2, 3, slow release. If you don't have a kettlebell, you can also loop a towel around a railing or a tree branch or something like that and do supine rows. All right, again, shoulder blade comes down away from the ears. We don't want to be shrugging up, so think wrists come down towards lower ribs. The next exercise are push-ups. So I'm going to use the kettlebell handle. I'm doing close grip push-ups. All right, so option for the kettlebell, like so, body's in a nice straight line, core's tight, someone kicks me in the stomach, I'm on, I'm engaged. I don't want my hands out in front of my face. I want my hands, my thumbs under my sternum. Core's tight, elbows tucked in. Again, slow down, increase time under tension if you can bang out more than 15 of those reps. All right, so there's the kettlebell push-up. You can also go through normal push-ups, push-ups on your knees, or if you want to, you can grab a seat or a railing or something like that and do push-ups like so. Again, use those techniques I gave before to increase the difficulty. So we're looking at time under tension, slow your reps down, up and down, add some isometrics in where you pause, certain positions, maybe bottom, halfway, top, squeeze the fuck out of those muscles. And my final exercise is my core-based work. So I'm looking at my lateral flexions here. When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about generating tension through the feet, up the hips, into the back, the core, and the shoulders. What I want to do is, as I'm going through my lateral rotations, lateral flexions, I want to squeeze my abs tight, keep tension here. Pretend someone's going to run up, punch me in the stomach. I want to stay nice and tight. This is what that's going to look like. Deadlift up. From here, I'm tight. Shorten the distance, belly button to sternum. Now I'm tight. Now, rotate, flex. As far as I can one way, I'm still tight. Then, go as far as I can the other way. Squeeze through the obliques. Tight. Again, slow down, get that time under tension. Squeeze the fuck out of those muscles. 10 on one side. 10 on the other. So there's one kettlebell option for our core. That's our lateral flexion. Another option is an anti-flexion movement. If you've got a super heavy kettlebell or dumbbell or anything else for that matter that you can pick up and carry, what you'll do is just choose, say, 15, 20 meters, take about 20 to 30 seconds to walk single arm over to that point, then switch arms, take it back. So we're looking at a suitcase carry here. This is what that's going to look like. Good technique. Up, lock the core in place, tight, shoulder blade back, then walk 20-30 seconds out to your point. Keep your spine aligned, core nice and tight. Once I get to the other side, swing it around, bring it back. Again, lock it in place, shoulder blade down and back, walk it out. I want to keep my shoulders level and my hips level. If you don't have access to a kettlebell, then you can just go into some side planks. Super simple. We're going to be focusing on anti-lateral flexion. This is what that's going to look like. Elbow on the ground, stacked beneath the shoulder. Core's tight. Again, someone's going to kick me in the stomach. I'm tight. I'm going to drive my hips forward. Tension through the core, through the hips, through the abs. I'm gonna hold here, squeeze everything as hard as I can. 20 to 30 seconds one side. 20 to 30 seconds on the other side. Let's go.